From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday graced the 56th founding anniversary of the 250th Presidential Airlift Wing, or PAW, at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay City. The Commander-in-Chief led the presentation of awards to the outstanding men, women, and units of the PAW. During the ceremony, the President also received the 250th PAW Operations Handbook detailing the wing's policies, protocols, and operational standards. The 250th PAW, often referred to as the Bluebirds, is a premier flying unit of the Philippine Air Force, or PAF, responsible for providing air transport to the President, the First Family, visiting heads of state and government, and other local and foreign VIPs. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
It's with great pleasure that I am here to celebrate with you the 56th founding anniversary of the 250th Presidential Airlift Wing. The 250th PAW has its roots in the 7001st Detachment, created on September 2, 1968. And since then, the 7001st Detachment evolved first into what was known to me as the 700 Special Mission Wing, under then the command of General Martel. And ito yung unit na talagang we were as members of the First Family that we were only allowed to use was only the 700 Special Mission Wing. And they provided a great service for us and for my father especially. It has now evolved into the 250th Presidential Airlift Wing, which has now served 8 administrations. This milestone demonstrates your dedication to your mandate for more than 5 decades now, and I am fortunate enough to witness this firsthand. Accept my deepest gratitude, not only for ensuring that I am safe in transit, but also for the security, safety that you provide for the First Family and our state guests, past and present. Since we started this administration, we have been on 445 flights. These flights represent all that the Presidency and the Presidential Airlift Wing stand for. The courage to rise above challenges, the precision of movement, the unshakable trust in the craft and the crew to carry us forward, and the level of excellence and professionalism that you always demonstrate. To Brigadier General Loreto Pasamonte and the former wing commanders who are present here today, we thank you for your perseverance in building a strong culture of safety and of excellence. To our pilots, the Bluebirds, the crew, the maintenance, and administrative personnel, thank you once again for the commitment and professionalism that you have shown in every call of duty. You continue to formulate ways so that I, the First Family, and all the presidents and dignitaries of foreign countries can safely reach our destination. You ensure that we remain steadfast, secure, and moving forward even when the winds threaten to pull us back, as evidenced by your 8,416 accident flying hours since the start of this administration. I will say this outright, I could not do the job that I do if not for the professionalism and the provision of service that presidential airlift wing provides. If I cannot imagine, pagka merong bagyo, pagka merong krisis, na hindi ko mapuntahan dahil walang eroplano o hindi lumilipad dahil service, whatever, hindi mahina yung maintenance, whatever. For the political things, pagpunta ko sa mga LGU, I simply could not do the job that I need to do without the airlift wing available to me. And that is how important the job is that you do. And that is not only directed towards myself, the first family, and all our VIP guests, but it is an important part. It is an important part of our effort at nation building. So understand, maayos yung eroplano nyo, yung sound system na lang ninyo may problema. Well, maybe we can attribute that to the weather. But nonetheless, once that I said, it is not only a service that you provide for me and for the first family and for our guests and our VIP guests, but it is a service that you provide for the country. That is how important a job it is that you do. You enable me and the cabinet members to fly around the country in support of humanitarian and assistance and disaster response missions. This you are doing despite the danger, that disaster that we might meet on land. Through your service, we have been able to assess the surroundings, to be with our people, to help our fellow men and women in the fastest and safest way possible. They'll figure it out. Like the journey of our nation, there will be times of turbulence, moments when the path seems uncertain and the horizon is not clear. Through it all, we put our trust in you and in each other to reliably weather any storm like this one that we are weathering now. Very good. These are the glitches that all of you have to deal with every day. And that is why your job and your professionalism and your skill and the depth of your training will show through at any time, even in the large crises and the little problems that we face once in a while. So it is no small responsibility. It is not one that goes unnoticed. Let me extend my sincerest congratulations to our unit and individual awardees. May your excellence continue to shine as an exemplar for others to emulate. So as we celebrate today your achievements, I ask all of you to reflect not just on what you have accomplished, but on what lies ahead. It is not enough for us to rest on the laurels of the past. We must look inward, examine our strengths, our weaknesses, and commit ourselves to continuous improvement. Let us be reminded that it is not just our work that defines us, but also the depth of our commitment, the strength of our character, and the nobility of our cause. Indeed, you, our men and women in uniform in the 250th Presidential Airlift Wing, carry not just the presidency, but the hope of every Filipino in Bagong Pilipinas. Rest assured, this administration is resolute to see that your health and well-being and wellness are attended to so that you can continue to carry out your duties properly. Let us continue to rise higher, reach further, dream bigger. Let us ensure that the legacy that you have built is not just remembered, but carried forward with pride and with purpose. Mabuhay ang 250th Presidential Airlift Wing. Mabuhay ang ating sandatahang lakas. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday called on the Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF, and other stakeholders in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, to ensure a peaceful and credible parliamentary election. During the opening ceremony for the 2024 National Peace Consciousness Month and the commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the 1996 Final Peace Agreement with the MNLF at Malacañang Palace in Manila, the President said, "The forthcoming election is an important reminder not only of the democracy but also of the visionaries who paved the way for the freedom that the country relishes today." The first parliamentary election in BARM will be held simultaneously with the May 12, 2025 midterm elections. The BARM covers Maguindanao del Sur, Maguindanao del Norte, Lanao del Sur, Basilan, Sulu and Tawi-Tawi, and the cities of Lamitan, Marawi, and Cotabato. The region was created in 2019 through Republic Act, or RA 11054, or the Bangsamoro Organic Law, which was enacted after the signing of a peace agreement between the government and the Moro rebels. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
It is fitting that as we open the National Peace Consciousness Month, we also mark the 20th anniversary of the 1996 Final Peace Agreement with the Moro National Liberation Front. This momentous occasion brings us back to a defining chapter in our history, when the government and the MNLF formally ended the decades-long struggle. From the forging of the 1976 Tripoli Agreement under my father's administration to the signing of the 1996 Final Peace Agreement, we have demonstrated mutual respect and strong collaboration and a burning desire for peace. In our broader quest for peace, we have also engaged other stakeholders in helping us forge a path towards meaningful autonomy for the Bangsamoro. In 2014, the comprehensive agreement of the Bangsamoro was signed. The journey was long and it was difficult. Negotiations sometimes stalled, and there were occasions of very difficult areas of impasse. However, our fervor and determination for lasting peace has endured. Through continuous conversations, concessions, compromise, we finally signed the Bangsamoro Organic Law in 2018. The BOL is a testament to the value of peace for Filipinos. It enshrines the hopes and the dreams of the Bangsamoro people through the creation of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. The negotiations and peace talks took years and brought out a number of disagreements. Nonetheless, we persevered and came through for the sake of healing and for reconciliation, for the betterment of our fellow Filipinos in Mindanao and of all Filipinos in the Philippines. Not only did our efforts lead to peace, it also resulted in increased investments, generated more employment, helped lower the poverty incidence in BARM. I extend my gratitude to the men and women of the MNLF, under the leadership of Chair Nur Miswari and Chair Muslimin Sema, for your steadfast commitment as natural allies of this administration, and of course, as our brothers, our partners and sisters in peace. Let me recognize your support in our anti-terrorism campaign, particularly in the provinces of Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi, where insurgency was among its foremost concerns. We also acknowledge our international partners. We would not have progressed this far without your help, without your guidance. Rest assured that you can depend on this administration to implement all signed peace agreements for the security, the inclusive progress, and stability not only in Mindanao, but throughout our country. The peace processes with former revolutionary organizations such as the MILF, Cordillera Bodong Administration, Cordillera People's Liberation Army, and the Revolucionaryong Partido ng Manggagawa ng Pilipinas, Revolutionary Proletarian Army, Alex Bongcayo Brigade, Tabara Paduano Group, now known as Kapatiran, are now in the advanced stages of implementation. We are also implementing the transformation program, which aims to uplift the socio-economic conditions of MNLF combatants and their families, and communities as well. In the spirit of convergence, I urge you to continue working with all stakeholders in the region towards accountable, transparent, and people-centered in governance in the region. We are likewise encouraging you to engage in a continuing open and constructive exchange and dialogue with government and its instrumentalities to discuss the experiences and challenges of our people in Mindanao so that we can provide responsive policies to serve you. I also call on the MNLF and other stakeholders of BARM to ensure a peaceful and orderly and credible conduct of the first Bangsamoro elections next year. The forthcoming election is an important reminder, not only of the democracy that empowers us to mold our destinies, but also of the visionaries who paved the way for the freedom that we all relish today. This landmark, the election of the members of parliament that will occur next year, is as important a landmark as the signing of all of the peace agreements. This will now not only formalize, not only institutionalize, but actually operationalize BARM's part in the national government. And that is a very, very important landmark, a very, very important part of our peace agreement. That will be the day when we can say that we have recognized the autonomy of BARM, and BARM has also recognized its membership into the fold of society within the national government. And that is an important conclusion to any peace effort. With peace and understanding now firmly rooted in our communities during this year's celebration of the National Peace Consciousness Month, let us now focus on the transformation of a country towards a more inclusive, peaceful, and progressive society. Peace begins within us. It flourishes the moment that we strip ourselves of the idea of us versus them, promote respect for our fellows, uphold everyone's dignity. We can only promote peace if we cultivate the foundations, the conditions, the necessary environment for it to thrive and prosper in every corner of our society. So my fellow Filipinos, the dividends of the peace that we have worked so hard to achieve are now upon us. And the responsibility to create a more inclusive and prosperous country now lies in our hands. For us to move forward as a strong, undivided nation, the government will continue to pursue a principled and peaceful resolution to internal armed conflicts with neither blame nor surrender, but with dignity for all. Together, let us build a more secure and dignified Bagong Pilipinas, where no one is neglected, where no one feels helpless, most importantly, where no one lives in fear.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has called on the youth to take part in the nationwide coastal cleanup and conservation activities as the country commemorates Maritime and Archipelagic Nation Awareness Month, or MANAMO, this September. In a video message, posted on social media by the Maritime Industry Authority or MARINA on Monday, the president said, "The Philippines is fortunate and blessed with vast maritime and archipelagic resources that can be utilized for the benefit of all Filipinos." The chief executive noted that this year's Manamo celebration is a clarion call to raise greater consciousness on maritime and archipelagic concerns, as well as to engage Filipinos in protecting the nation's maritime interests and resources from various threats. September is declared Maritime and Archipelagic Nation Awareness Month through Proclamation No. 316 Series of 2017, which synchronized the celebration of all maritime-related events and activities in a single month to increase awareness and appreciation for the Philippines' vast maritime and archipelagic nature. As a maritime and archipelagic country, the Philippines is composed of more than 7,000 islands with more than 14,000 coastal communities highly dependent on marine resources for living. Let us listen to the message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Join the entire Filipino nation in the observance of the Maritime and Archipelagic Nation Awareness Month. Our country is fortunate and blessed with vast maritime and archipelagic resources that can be utilized for the benefit of our people. As stewards of this incredible gift, it is incumbent upon us to preserve and develop these resources to their fullest potential. This year's celebration of Manamo is a clarion call to raise greater consciousness on maritime and archipelagic concerns, as well as to engage our people in protecting our maritime interests and resources from various threats. As this important occasion also coincides with the observance of Fish Conservation Week, International Coastal Cleanup Day, and National Maritime Day, I encourage everyone, especially our youth, to support and to join the countrywide coastal cleanup and conservation activities. Everything starts from each of us, and with all of us working together, we will soon harvest the fruits of our hard work and realize a sustainable and greener future for everyone to enjoy. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday called on local government units or LGUs to ramp up their waste management efforts once severe tropical storm Enteng leaves the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR on Wednesday afternoon. In an expose, the president said both local and national government efforts continue even as the storm has left the country. The chief executive earlier lamented that improper waste disposal caused the massive flooding during the onslaught of the southwest monsoon and Typhoon Karina last month. President Marcos Jr. urged the public to adhere to the local authorities' guidelines and take all necessary steps to ensure everyone's safety. While he directed LGUs to lead the disaster response efforts, President Marcos assured the public of the national government's readiness to mitigate the impact of the typhoon. The Philippine president said, "The Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, are on the ground and have started the clearing operations on the affected national roads," adding that over 1,700 equipment have been pre-positioned to make sure that streets are passable as quickly as possible. President Marcos said the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, is also leading the distribution of over 16 million pesos worth of assistance to typhoon victims adding that 2.6 billion pesos worth of food and non-food items remain, as well as 65.56 million pesos in standby funds. The president assured that the government is fully mobilized to manage the situation.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has declared Tuesday a day of national mourning over the passing of Manlilikha ng Bayan or National Living Treasure awardee Federico Caballero, an epic chanter and culture bearer of the Sulod Bukidnon tribe in Central Panay Province. With the issuance of Proclamation No. 678 signed by the President on Monday, the national flag was flown at half-mast from sunrise to sunset on all government buildings and installations throughout the Philippines and abroad on September 3rd. Republic Act or RA number 8491 or the Flag and Heraldic Code of the Philippines provides that the Philippine flag shall be flown at half-mast as a sign of mourning on all buildings and places where it is displayed on the day of interment of a recipient of national order and decoration. Caballero was declared a National Living Treasure when he received the Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan Award in 2000 for his expertise in the Sugidanon, the epics of Central Panay. He died on August 17th at the age of 88. The chief executive issued the presidential proclamation in recognition of Caballero's commitment to safeguarding and propagating the Sugidanon tradition of his community. As a culture bearer, Caballero persevered in documenting the 10 Panay Bukidnon epics, which were rendered in a language that, though no longer spoken, is related to Kinaraya. Caballero worked with researchers to piece together the epics of Humadapnon and Labaw Dungon. He was also an arbiter of conflicts who helped resolve disputes at the local level to prevent people from being alienated from each other and preserve the social fabric of their community.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday warned those that helped dismissed Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo escape the country will face penalties, including filing of charges against them. In a video message, the president emphasized that those helped Guo escape is against the law and interests of the country's judicial system. The chief executive also said Indonesian authorities are just legally following orders from courts to return Guo to the Philippines and does not require any marching orders. President Marcos added that the government is already processing documents for the return of the former Banban mayor.
Mga minamahal kong kababayan, on or about 1 o'clock a.m., 4 September, Alice Guo, also known as Guo Huaping, was arrested in Tangerang City, Jakarta, Indonesia. I congratulate all law enforcement personnel who made this apprehension possible. The public may not know the intricate details of this mission that you have successfully accomplished, but on their behalf, accept my thanks. The Philippines also thanks the Indonesian government for their assistance on this matter. The close cooperation between our two governments has made this arrest possible. Let this serve as a warning to those who attempt to evade justice. Such is an exercise in futility. The arm of the law is long, and it will reach you. This government continues in its duty to apply the rule of law. Ms. Go shall be entitled to all legal protections due her under the laws of the land and pursuant to our commitment to the rule of law. But we will not allow this to prolong the resolution of the case, whose outcome will be a victory for the Filipino people.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday led various government officials in a situation briefing at the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, in Camp Aguinaldo, Quezon City. The President has ordered a whole-of-government approach to address the effects of the recent calamity, which brought extensive damages to parts of Luzon, Visayas, and the National Capital Region, or NCR, this week. In his report, Office of Civil Defense, or OCD Operations Service Director Cesar Idio said, "The province of Rizal has the highest death count with 8. Cebu City, Northern Samar, and Naga City recorded 2 deaths each, while Negros Occidental reported 1 fatality. Aside from this, 21 persons were reported missing, while 15 others were also injured." Idio also reported that a total of 1,720,568 individuals, or 442,804 families, were affected by Enteng, with Bicol Region the most affected area, followed by Central Luzon, Eastern Visayas, and Metro Manila. Enteng also caused 350.85 million pesos worth of damage to the agriculture sector, with 13,623 farmers affected and recording a volume of production loss at 14.814 metric tons in 8,893 hectares of agricultural areas of rice, corn, and high-value crops. Meanwhile, after the briefing, the chief executive conducted an aerial inspection to personally see the damages left by the storm in Metro Manila and nearby areas. President Marcos said what he saw only validated the reports he received earlier from various government agencies, including date-comparing Typhoon Karina and Enteng. The President said overpopulation, blocked drainage systems, garbage problem, and deforestation triggered the massive floods and landslides in many areas in Luzon. He said his administration would use the large-scale development flood control program initiated by the Aquino government as a base to find the solutions with the most immediate effect to mitigate floods. President Marcos added that the impounding process of dams and river basins is seen as a solution to prevent floods, especially in Metro Manila. Regarding deforestation, the chief executive said the government needs to be much stricter about it and ensure that the laws on environmental protection are being implemented.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday dismissed as fake news the reports circulating online of being ill and having been hospitalized. In a media interview, the president told Palace reporters that he had many friends calling him and asking if he is okay. The chief executive said he spent the entire Tuesday working in Malacañang, meeting with military service commanders and doing paperwork.
How is your state of health, sir?
Because lumabas yung report. Yan ang kailangan ninyong tignan. Do I look sick? Yan ang kailangan natin bantayan. Mga fake news na ganyan. Huwag kayong naniniwala unless it comes from a credible source. Tama, ang dami kong kaibigan tumawag sa akin, okay ka ba? Okay ka ba? Wala, kalukuhan lang yan.
You were in the palace sa bahay niyo kahapon, sir?
I was in the most of the day, yes. I had a meeting in the morning. I had a command conference with some of our commanders. And I spent the rest of the day reading my briefs and doing paperwork. Nagulat lang ako when they said that there was a medical emergency.
Medical emergency.
It's totally and completely fake. I do not even have a cold. I do not have anything wrong with me. I'm fine. Thank you for your concern.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday warmly welcomed Poland Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski in a courtesy call in Malacañang Palace, coinciding with the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between both countries. During the meeting, the President stressed the importance of Poland's support for the Indo-Pacific strategy, which aims to make the region free and open, interconnected, prosperous, resilient, and secure. The Indo-Pacific region is the fastest-growing economic region in the world, accounting for 60% of the world economy and 2/3 of global economic growth. It is also projected to be the largest contributor to global growth over the next 30 years. In May this year, President Marcos said the Philippines is a key player in the Indo-Pacific region as he touted the country's economic strengths. The chief executive thanked Sikorski for finding time to visit the Philippines despite the current situation in Europe, particularly the geopolitical developments in the region. Sikorski said it is an honor to meet with the Philippine president and praised the Philippine leader for his very successful diplomacy and security efforts. Sikorski first visited the Philippines in 2006 when he served as Poland's Minister for National Defense. Diplomatic relations between the Philippines and Poland were formally established on September 22, 1973. Poland has been supplying the Philippines with Black Hawk helicopters. It also served as the country's 9th top trading partner among the European Union countries in 2023. Poland is second home to almost 3,000 Filipinos.
Dateline Malacañang.
Outgoing Colombian ambassador to the Philippines, Marcela Ordóñez Fernandez, on Wednesday hailed the exchange of best practices on peace process between Manila and Bogota. This as Fernandez paid a farewell call on Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. at the Malacañang Palace to officially mark the end of her tour of duty to the Philippines. The Colombian envoy thanked the president for her wonderful experience in the Philippines. The Colombian official also expressed appreciation for Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. During the tenure of Ambassador Fernandez, the Philippines and Colombia exchanged visits of officials in charge of the peace process to learn best practices. The Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity, or OPAPRU, has since expressed its support for the continuation and expansion of the bilateral cooperation on the peace process. The outgoing ambassador was involved in the conduct of 2 meetings of the bilateral consultation mechanism virtually in 2021 and in person in 2024. Fernandez also delivered Colombia's support for the Philippines' bid for the United Nations Security Council, or UNSC, non-permanent seat for 2027 to 2028. The Colombian envoy started her stint in the Philippines in February of 2021 and is currently the Dean of the Latin American Ambassadors in the Philippines.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday congratulated newly appointed Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez and said that he only gave one instruction to him, which is to just tell the truth. Chavez took his oath before the president as the new PCO chief on Thursday afternoon. He will serve in an acting capacity until the Commission on Appointments confirms his designation as a full-fledged cabinet secretary. In a social media post on Thursday evening, President Marcos expressed confidence in Chavez's seasoned track record in public service. The chief executive said he trusts that Chavez, a longtime broadcast journalist before serving in the government, will continue to serve with the same dedication and excellence that he has demonstrated in over 3 decades of public service, ensuring that the work we do is communicated effectively and immediately to the Filipino people. Chavez was named a presidential assistant on strategic communications in December of 2023 with the rank of undersecretary. He also served as news anchor and station manager of DZRH and vice president of the radio station's parent company, the Manila Broadcasting Company. Chavez will be the 3rd communications chief of the Marcos administration. In October 2022, Trixie Cruz Angeles resigned as press secretary, citing health reasons. She was replaced by Cheloy Garafil as officer in charge and eventually as full-fledged secretary in January of 2023. Meanwhile, President Marcos also administered the oath of office to the new chairperson of the National Youth Commission, or NYC, Joseph Francisco Ortega, and new NYC Commissioner at Large, Carl Joseph Legaspi.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday welcomed the slowdown in inflation rate to 3.3% in August, citing the government's steps in bringing down food prices. In a statement posted on social media, the president said the decrease of the country's headline inflation to 3.3% in August from 4.4% in July is a victory for every Filipino. The chief executive cited the government's move to reduce rice tariffs, which he said brought rice inflation down from 20.9% to 14.7%, and meat inflation also eased from 4.8% to 4%. President Marcos also vowed to expand the Kadiwa ng Pangulo program in the Visayas and Mindanao, as well as the rollout of the African swine fever or ASF vaccine to ensure ample pork supply and further bring down the prices of commodities. Likewise, the President credited steps in ensuring stable oil prices. President Marcos pledged to continue working and take the necessary steps to uplift the lives of every Filipino.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.820 MHz, and 12.010 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.